Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about the weather in the North and South Pole and how it compares with the weather in the United Kingdom. So, last week we looked at weather around the equator. So that was around the very middle of the globe, and we talked about it being really quite hot there and quite wet. And there's only two seasons, which are either hot or hot and very rainy. So this week we're going to look at the North and South Pole. So the North Pole is right at the top of the globe and the South Pole is right at the bottom of the globe. So if you imagine a big ball, right at the top and right at the bottom. Okay, and we're going to be thinking about why the weather's different there. So I'll just set this up. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a city in Norway, which I've pointed to on the globe, on the picture of the globe here with the green arrow. The city is called Tromso, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, but I'm trying my best. So I want you to think about, is it near the North Pole, the equator, or the South Pole, based on what we've just said? And I want you to think about how its weather might be different to the United Kingdom. You'll notice it's not too far from the United Kingdom, which is here, but it is further towards the top. So is that the North or the South Pole, or is it the equator? So it's the North Pole is up here. So Tromso is quite close to the North Pole. It's not right at the North Pole, but it's close to there. And the weather in places near the North Pole is colder than in the United Kingdom because it's further north and it's further towards the top. And we'll think about why that is and exactly how cold and how different it is further into the video. So I'm going to show you some pictures now of winter in Tromso, and I want you to think about how the weather is different. So not only is it colder, but what exactly is different about it. So here's the first picture, and you can talk to someone that's with you. It might be your shoulder partner if you're in school, or it might be that you can talk to a grown-up or one of your toys. So have a look at this picture. What can you see? How is it different to the United Kingdom? Here's the second picture. Have a think about how this one might be different. You can pause the video at any time if you want to have a bit longer on each one. The next picture. And then we've got one more, which is this one here. So imagine that this is your street that you live on. How does it look different to your street with the weather? Look in the skies as well as on the ground. So in winter, which is November, December, January time, there's actually a period for about 6 weeks where there's no sunlight at all. So those weren't the pictures that we've seen, but there are about 6 weeks where the sun does not rise, and it's dark all day and all night for almost 6 weeks, which is a really long time. How do you think you'd feel about going to school in the dark? I don't think it'd be very nice, would it? It's very cold in Tromso as well, and it rains or snows all year round. The ground is covered in snow or ice for most of the year, and the ground is frozen for most of the year as well. So there's not many trees and plants that can grow, especially up in the mountains where it's particularly snowy and icy. So if we have a look back at these pictures again, we can't really spot many trees and plants, can we? There is some trees up on the hills here and a few, but it's quite sparse. There's not as many trees as there are in the United Kingdom. And it does look quite dark in these pictures as well, doesn't it? So it's quite dark, it's cold, it's snowy, it's icy, and it would be like that for quite a long time. So even though we have a few days like that in the United Kingdom, this would be for the whole of winter. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to look at some pictures of Tromso in summer and see how the weather differs and think about how it might be similar or different to the United Kingdom. Here's the first one. The next one. Oh, that's it, just two for that one. So in summer, although it doesn't look as cold because there's not as much snow, it is a bit warmer, but there's still snow and ice in the highest mountains, and it never ever thaws, which means it never melts. So it's snowy there all the time. There are clear skies occasionally, but it's usually very cloudy and overcast all year round. And in summer, the sun never sets. So just like it in winter, the sun never rose. In winter, the sun never rose. In summer, the sun never sets. So it's actually light all day and night for about 6 weeks. So it's very different to how it is in the United Kingdom, where we have every single day all year round. We have sun for some of the day and we have darkness for some of the day. Not in Norway, okay, and countries nearer to the North Pole. So have a little think about what life would be like if you lived in Tromso. What would it be like going to school in winter? And think about as well, even if it might be quite tricky to go to school, think about all the fun winter weather activities that you could do there. What do you think that Norwegian people that live in Tromso might do for fun? Okay, and let's have a look at some examples. So did you think of any of these? We've got reindeer feeding, because there's lots of reindeers that live there. Husky sledding. Huskies are dogs that are really well equipped to live in cold places. They've got thick coats of fur, and they pull on sleds because they're quite strong dogs as well. So you might be sitting in a sled and you might be being pulled along by a husky. You can go whale watching, because there's lots of whales, because we saw all that water in Norway, all the lakes, all the ocean. We've got snowshoe hiking, because you've got all that snow. You can, as long as you're wrapped up warm and you're wearing the correct sort of footwear, you'd need to make sure it was good, strong footwear, otherwise you'd be slipping around. You can go snowshoe hiking. We've got snowmobile racing, okay, going down the hills, and we've got skiing as well, which are things that we might be able to do very, very, very occasionally in the United Kingdom. But in Norway, you've got the option to do it for the whole of winter. There's one more thing that I'm going to show you now, which is a really magical thing that you can see in Iceland in winter, and it's called the Aurora Borealis, which is also known as the Northern Lights. And it's quite a magical thing that you can see in the night sky over Tromso during autumn and winter. They're beautiful green, red and blue lights, and they're caused by the sun and the gases in the atmosphere. And I'm going to show you a video of what the Northern Lights look like. Okay, so be watching this video carefully and think about whether you'd like to go and see the Northern Lights. I think they're really special, and I know it's something that I've always wanted to see. So that shows you what the Northern Lights look like. And what do you think? Would you like to go and see them? I think they're absolutely amazing. It looks like someone's casting a spell in the sky. All the lights are dancing around. I think it would be amazing. So what you're going to do for your task this week is you are either going to be, if you're doing task 1, is reading some statements and deciding whether they are describing a typical day in Norway or a typical day in the United Kingdom, and you need to sort them into the right column. Or you're going to have a diary entry to read about someone's day in Norway, and you're going to be taking that information and putting it into a comic strip. So drawing some pictures for me about what the person and family might have done during the day, and then I would like you to write some sentences. Those can be taken from the diary entry, or you can write your own sentences to go with it. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing your work, which I'd like you to send to us on Seesaw, and I will see you next time. Bye.